The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
If you think cybercrime doesn't affect you, we at Today's Verdict have some news for you. Your pocketbook has already taken a hit. And it's summertime, so that means dirt bikes are once again all over town. Two interesting topics, and we cover them both. So don't go away, because Today's Verdict starts right now. Welcome to Today's Verdict, the show that gives you your legal rights and options. I'm your host and trial attorney for the next 30 minutes, David Lesh. Every second, at least 18 adults become a victim of cybercrime. Think about that. That adds up to 1.5 million cybercrime victims every day. These crimes are costing consumers the equivalent of a week's worth of food for a family of 4. And now, with our expanding world of social media, cybersecurity advocates warn that social media is the easiest way to target the average consumer. How can we protect ourselves without giving up our wonderful world of Facebook and Twitter? Is there a light at the end of the cyber tunnel? We will certainly try to find out, but first, what exactly constitutes a cybercrime? Let's get a quick tutorial.
65% of all internet users are victims of cybercrime at some point in their life. Cybercrime is now so lucrative it's a bigger earner than drug trafficking. By sending out some 43 million links to fake antivirus software each year, cyber pirates gain access to our security codes. Information about an individual's identity can be deciphered in just 3 seconds. They're then able to create false passports or driving licenses, which could earn them up to $22,000 a month. A credit card number can be purchased for just $2. For more than $700, it's possible to buy access to an account with a balance of more than $82,000. So-called distributed denial-of-service attacks sent out by hackers groups like Anonymous bombard websites with requests until they're unable to cope and fall offline. Hiring such a service carried out on computers from a distance can cost as little as $15. On January the 20th, 2012, US officials shut down internet file-sharing site megaupload.com. In response, Anonymous, aided by some 5,600 supporters, briefly knocked the FBI and American Justice Department websites offline, as well as the French presidency website. When sophisticated networks of hackers are involved, the fight against cyber attacks is not easy, particularly when differences in national legislations mean international cyber pirates can often slip through the net.
Joining us in studio to help shed some light into the world of computer crimes is computer forensic investigator Philip Rosenthal. Mr. Rosenthal has been investigating computer crimes for over 20 years, assisting the FBI, U.S. Secret Service, New York Attorney General, and countless other law enforcement agencies in various high-tech related cases. He's a member of the U.S. Secret Service Electronic Crimes Task Force, as well as the High Tech Crime Consortium, and we are lucky to have him here today. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rosenthal.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I say cyber crimes, computer crimes. What do you say?
I call it computer crime. It's basically, we've got a real physical world that we live in. You and I are in it right now. Anyone standing around is in it. And then there's this cyber world. But the crimes that occur in the cyber world are really no different than the crimes that occur in the physical world. Okay, you can't physically get mugged by somebody, but you can get electronically mugged, where someone knocks you over, takes your wallet, and uses that to empty out your bank account, steal from you, or whatever.
You know, from what I read, it's very tough to find out really exactly what it is costing us. Why? Why is it so hard to get the numbers, really?
Well, first of all, a lot of people are too embarrassed to even report that they've been mugged.
Why?
Nobody likes to admit it, and it's you feel stupid that you let it happen. Typically, it happens because somebody finds a way to put some bad software on your computer that then spews out all of your personal data back to them, unbeknownst to yourself. And when you do find it out, it's not something that you want to go brag about or you run to the police with, because I guess a lot of people figure, well, the police aren't going to be bothered with this because there's real crime out there. Number two, the average person who gets hurt with their credit card, it doesn't really cost them because of the Fair Credit Act. Therefore, the banks eat that. The banks don't like to report that because they're afraid that people will not deposit their money in their bank if they find out that they keep getting hacked.
Which is true.
It's very true.
All right, let's go back to the average person who's dealing with social media. Let's take Facebook for an example.
Okay.
What kind of crimes are we dealing with in terms of the cyber world and the Facebook, Twitter world?
Well, you can have financial-based crimes there as well, from chasing after people and learning their habits and what they're doing with themselves and what information they're giving out about their personal lives. And then the bad people are taking that data and using it to hack them. But there's also young people, and not just young people, but older people too, but mostly young people, are putting so much personal information out there that it allows people to come and stalk them and do all kinds of other things that can actually put them in jeopardy.
Right, so it's the voluntary where you're actually putting this stuff on there, and then there's the I'm going to make believe I'm a website or a link or something, and you click on me, and then I come in and then I can get all your stuff without you even putting that on
exactly,
there.
precisely.
And is this happening more and more? Are we catching up with it? What's going on here?
We'll never catch up with it. You know, there are, I've lost count now, more than 500 million people using Facebook. And everybody uses it for every possible thing. Just a little anecdote. This friend of mine, all of a sudden I started getting all these updates every few minutes. I was here, I was there, I was there, I was here. I checked with him and I said, why do I need to know everything you're doing? He says, well, I'm using it to track to see what my habitual movements are. I said, but I don't need to know that.
Right.
So turn it off or do it, but don't broadcast it to everyone.
And I'm sure when you're looking at it, you're looking on a smartphone, am I correct? You're not carrying your PC around. So
exactly, or on an iPad or whatever it might be.
It looks
right.
like now it's the smartphone that is at risk. Am I correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. What we used to be worried about was the computer that was sitting on your dining room table. That's been pushed to the side now. Everybody's got a device in their hand. You can become much more private with that device. You let down your guard more because you feel like, well, it's mine, no one can get it. Go try to pull a smartphone out of your kid's hand.
Right.
You have to cut the arm off. And so everyone assumes that they are carrying around their privacy. In reality, you set that thing down and it disappears. You have now given your entire life to somebody.
All right, now, again, smartphone operating systems. I seem to be looking at Android systems as the system of choice for hackers. Is that correct or not?
And why is that? Because Android is an open source system. In other words, the software that makes up the operating system is open. It's not, nobody owns it. So anybody can build the graphical interface for it and do what they want with it. So you may see a particular flavor of Android and say, oh, that's really cool. I'd like to have that version on my phone. What you don't realize is that the guy that wrote it also has written secret software in it that is now going to pump everything you do back to him.
And that's like the Trojan horse we're talking about.
That's exactly. You've let him into your house and then locked the doors with him inside.
All right, let's expand from person to company. All right?
Okay.
Well, how are companies at risk?
How are companies at risk? Well, if there's a company of any size that has, let's say, salespeople out on the road and they're carrying a company phone and they use that phone to communicate with their servers from the company back at the corporate office to keep track of customer information or orders or pricing or whatever it might be, if they then introduce unwittingly some bad software, some Trojan horse software, it now gives them access back to the company and can bankrupt the
Now,
company.
you have experience in this. How should a company protect itself from this type of...
Well, first and foremost, they should never, ever allow anybody to install any software on their company phone that they don't approve. So just because you want to have the latest weather app on your phone, check with the IT people and make sure that it's an approved app. Don't just do stuff on your own. And as a matter of fact, through Android, it can be locked down so that you can't introduce anything in without getting the IT guy to do it for you. It's those are some companies do that, but the average company doesn't, especially smaller companies. They don't have the financial wherewithal to hire people to just maintain the devices that are being used on behalf of the company.
You know, I'm fascinated by the espionage aspect of the cyber crimes. Countries trying to hack into financial institutions. What's going on presently? China, from what I hear, is
Hezbollah and the PLO. Every kid in the world that cuts his teeth on using a computer or a device does it on trying to hack Israeli websites, and vice versa.
Vice versa. It goes back and forth.
And a number of years ago, I was peripherally involved in the case. They literally brought down the Israeli backbone, the infrastructure of the internet into Israel. They hacked into it, and it took down all of the government websites as well as most of the business
I know
websites.
we also, or maybe it could have been we, or maybe Israel went into, was it Iran, to try and do something with their...
Stuxnet, the Stuxnet virus was a worm virus. Again, it's like a Trojan horse, and it was somehow introduced into their computers and used in order to melt down some of their nuclear capability.
You're the average person. Again, you're not a big company. You're not a country. We know how to protect yourself, but you're a victim. That's it. You've been taken. What do you do?
First thing first, before you even call out, "Oh my God!"
Look, I lost all my data.
Get online through another computer and download your 3 credit reports.
Okay.
First and foremost, you're entitled to, here in New York State and most states, you're entitled to a copy of each of the 3 every year for free. You don't have to pay for it. If you're a victim of cyber theft, then you're entitled to it anyway. And check those. Make sure that the credit cards that you have are the only ones that are on that report. If you've got 5 or 6 other ones, or you see all kinds of attempts to get other ones, that means someone's trying to get them. And they're probably having those credit cards sent to some other address, and they're ruining your credit. So make sure that you check those right away, first and foremost. Let's be proactive. Let's say you didn't get hacked yet. What can you do? So make sure that you're not giving out all your data. Don't open up emails that you don't know who they're from. And if you aren't sure about it, see the preview of it, but don't click on the attachment. When someone says, "Hey, check this picture out," you'll laugh for an hour. No, you won't. You'll cry for a month because all of your money will be gone and you won't know what to do anymore.
And very important is how we find out how we get a hold of you. So where do we grab you?
Okay, you can reach me either at 1-800-425-7919, or on my website is Philip at pmr-group.com.
And I see we have it up on the screen. Well, Philip, please come back so we can talk about it, because this doesn't look like a topic that's going away anytime soon.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, we have to take a quick break, but coming up, we shift gears, literally, as we begin a new discussion, one involving dirt bikes. We'll be right back. Boy, gotta be careful.
How you doing? I just want regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Did you eat that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
She's getting big, huh?
Good. Yeah, she is big. Let's get your haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks cute. Come on, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
This was me. And Mom and Dad. And my big brother Alex. And this was the day we all got to forget that I was sick. This was my wish.
Welcome back. I'm your host, David Lesh. Stay up to date with today's verdict by connecting with us and sending in your questions or comments through Facebook or Twitter using hashtag BXNETVER. Over the past few years, the streets of New York have been increasingly crowded, and not just from pedestrian traffic. There is constant construction to widen lanes which increase vehicular traffic flow, as well as the adding of bike lanes on many New York streets. We are also seeing an increase in law enforcement activity, which is attempting to regulate the new activity on our roads. But what about dirt bikes? I see them all the time. Are you permitted to ride around the city on a dirt bike? Why are they different from your average motorcycle? Joining us in studio to help us understand the issues surrounding dirt bikes is Joseph McCormick, the Chief of Vehicular Crimes Bureau at the Bronx District Attorney's Office, and we're happy to have him back on the show. Joseph, thanks for being here. What's the story? Is a dirt bike a motorcycle? What is a dirt bike, please?
A dirt bike's a dirt bike. You know what they are. They sound like little washing machines, and they make a lot of noise, and they blow blue smoke, right?
I think you said that when you, I think upset, you were telling me that when you hear it, it almost sounds like a weed whacker on steroids.
On steroids, right. The legal definition is a vehicle primarily designed for off-road use. So when you see a dirt bike with the knobby tires, no turn signals, no headlight, it's designed to be used off-road, not on the road.
Right, because you're not signaling. Again, it's not safe to have on our roads, but as we've been mentioning, we see them all the time. Mm-hmm. Why? Why
I don't really know why. I don't know that it would be that much fun. I think it's dangerous. The tires aren't designed for on-road, running around. I think what it is that they're inexpensive. They find them somewhere, I guess Craigslist or on the eBay or something like that, and figure that they're not going to pay insurance, they're not going to register them, they're not going to pay any fees, and still run around and have some fun. But it's dangerous.
So let's be clear. You can't get a license to drive one here in the city, obviously. I mean, unless you're driving in someplace private, right? So if you're pulled over immediately, that's it. You're already in a violation. They're going to take it anyway.
They're going to take it. They're going to write you tickets for all of the various things we just mentioned.
It's almost they figure, well, what's the big deal anyway? I might as well. I mean, I'm riding it anyway. What's the worst thing that can happen to me? Is that the attitude of those who are driving?
I think the attitude is that they won't get caught. I think the attitude is that it's easily maneuverable. You can get away. You can go down the street in the opposite direction, but they are getting caught. We have probably 75 cases right now of dirt bikers who got caught, and now they're facing criminal charges in Bronx criminal
And by
court.
the way, it's not just themselves that they're putting at risk. It's the public as well. What have you seen?
Well, like you say, it is themselves, right? Because they're not wearing helmets, right? If you don't have insurance and you don't have registration, you don't have anything, you probably don't have a helmet. And what you've seen and what I've seen is they don't have helmets on.
That's correct.
That's very, very dangerous. There's states around the country that have repealed their helmet laws for regular on-road motorcycles, and they've seen their fatalities on motorcycle crashes rise. Right now, car fatalities are still going down. Motorcycle fatalities in the United States have been going up for 10 years. So the dirt bikes are almost like, remember a weed whacker on steroids?
Yes.
A dirt bike is a way to get killed on steroids. It's really dangerous.
And they go on the sidewalks, too. We're not talking about just staying on the roads. I mean, they're on the sidewalks. And I would assume if the police have to try and follow them and they end up on a sidewalk, we have a big problem. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
I don't think the police are going to follow them onto the sidewalk, and the problem is there's pedestrians on the sidewalk. You mentioned how dangerous it is to the rest of the citizens. And we have a lot of cases. We have cases where pedestrians have been struck and killed by dirt bikes.
Let's talk about the crime. What are you charged with? First, let's say you're operating on the right side of the street, in the speed limit. Fine. What's your crime?
Well, there's a violation that riding the dirt bike on a street. You're not supposed to do that.
Okay. And that's the vehicle and traffic law,
right?
Okay.
And then you have vehicle and traffic law for your insurance, for the registration, probably not wearing a helmet. All of them are going to be penalties of fines, which once you start to add them up, gets very expensive.
Okay.
And they're going to be points on your license. And if you get enough points on your license, you could lose your license.
All right. Now you're popping a wheelie, and you're doing some really, really bad stuff with it. What's your crime now?
Well, they'll go the wrong way. They'll go on the sidewalks. They'll do all those kind of things. Now you're going to have additional vehicle and traffic violations for each of those things, right? Going through a stop sign, going through a light. But if you end up putting somebody in danger, somebody at risk, which is the cases that we're seeing, where people are jumping out of the way, where they're crashing into people, where they're crashing into cars, if other people are getting into risk, cars have to like swerve out of the way real fast. The bike's coming the other way on a one-way road. You can have reckless endangerment, which is an A misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in jail. And you can have reckless driving, which is an unclassified misdemeanor, which is a very serious one for your traffic record.
Now, I think we were talking a little bit earlier offset, and you see them in the Bronx, I see them in the Bronx, and sometimes in groups. How do you stop? How do you even stop that if there are 40 different people on dirt bikes? How do you get them all? What do you do?
In the old days, David, it really wasn't something that the criminal justice system was really focused on. It would usually be like a young 18-year-old kid. He got some dirt bike somewhere. Cops would stop him. They might take away the dirt bike, put it in the police impound. You have to have a title. You have to have registration. You have to have all paperwork to get it out. They might not have that, and that'd be the end of it. But then what we started to see is I have at least 5 of the dirt bikers have been killed in the Bronx. I'm not talking about Manhattan, the city, in the Bronx in the past couple months. And I've had a whole bunch of pedestrians, 1 killed, 1 very badly hurt, and a bunch injured. So now the police department, the DA's office, we're all looking at this like this is a dangerous thing. So we're trying to figure out innovative ways to stop it.
All right, we're gonna keep going on this, but we have to take a quick break. But when we return, we will continue our discussion on law enforcement's summertime initiatives. We'll be right back.
How you doing? I just want a regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Did you eat that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Hi, how you doing?
She's getting big, huh?
Good. Yeah, she is big. Great haircut.
Yeah.
Looks cute. Come on, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
Welcome back. I'm your host, David Lesh. Remember that our show is here to serve you, our viewers. So don't forget to connect with us on Facebook and Twitter and tell us what topics or questions you'd like us to cover on the show. Summer is in full swing, and that means more and more people are up and about town. Some of us do not use the roads as they have been intended. Specifically, dirt bikes have become a popular way to move throughout the city, legal or not. Joining us in the discussion is Joseph McCormick, the Chief of Vehicular Crimes Bureau at the Bronx District Attorney's Office. Again, Joseph, thanks for being here. Not legal, well, we now know that, but I'd like to put on my other hat right now, play devil's advocate. Those who are riding are saying, hey, just leave us alone. We could be doing a lot of other bad things, and you're causing the accidents because you're chasing us. What do you say to that?
I don't think that's it at all. I think that the police are really trying not to chase them. It's not a safe thing for the police officer. It's not a safe thing for the dirt bike. It's not a safe thing for the lady walking down the block. And so they're trying not to do that. Most of them are getting caught by a traffic jam that somehow the bike gets caught in. They're getting caught with mechanical defects. These are old, rotten, cruddy dirt bikes. They die, they stall, they won't start again. They get caught by the officers, see them running on a block, and then they leave, right? Because what are they going to do? And when they come back, the dirt biker has got the bike leaning against the building talking to somebody. All of a sudden they get them. And so they're catching them pretty frequently now.
But here's the thing. For years, it was skateboards. Skateboards all over the place, bothering people on the sidewalk. So what did we do? We created skateboard parks. You see them, they're close to our offices in the Bronx. Well, what about a track? What about something for those who want to ride dirt bikes?
Well, some of the dirt bikers have said that. There's been articles talking about that desire. And that'd be great. That's not my decision.
Right.
And that would be the city doing something about it. There's a couple of problems. A skateboard park can be in a small footprint. Obviously, a dirt bike park would be need a lot more land. And you're also talking about dirt bikes, which are going to be dangerous. You're going to have a liability issue. You're going to have people getting injured seriously there. You'd have to have some sort of governance to make sure they're not crashing into each other.
Could you also change the bike, put some lights on the sides, and do different things to make them fit into the classification of motorcycle, or can that not be done really?
Well, there's a series of multi-use bikes. Like you have street motorcycles, which you're familiar with, and you have these dirt bikes, which we're now seeing and hearing. And what they do is they take some of the dirt bike frames and they put signals on them, turn signals. They put headlights. Okay. They put all of the license plate bracket, and you can register those, and you could drive them on the street.
By the way, how does this differ from an ATV? By the way, what is that?
An ATV is 4 wheels usually. In the old days, they were 3 wheels. They were really dangerous. They'd tip over on anything. They're 4 wheels now. Again, the definition is primarily designed for off-road use. That's what an ATV is. It has knobby tires. It's supposed to go in the dirt. And so that's what these dirt bikes are, primarily designed for off-road use. They have 2 wheels. The ATVs have 4 wheels. That's really the only difference. In fact, under the law, a lot of the laws against these dirt bikes are actually classified as ATV laws.
You know, I know, and not that I'm completely taking the side of those riding dirt bikes, obviously, but, you know, there was an article that on Ward's Island, which was really away from everybody else, you know, the police followed them and said, hey, enough, don't ride here. I think it would be nice to try and give, I know it's not your decision, obviously, it would be nice to give them a place or give the riders a place to do this, because many of them say, hey, you know, it keeps us out from doing things that are bad. It's something we enjoy. And if we're not hurting anybody, what's the big deal? But obviously, it is a big deal.
I'm not against it. I ride a motorcycle legally on the street. I have a dirt bike and an ATV that I have to drive way upstate to a friend's farm once in a blue moon when I can get a chance to use it. And I leave it up there and I use it up there. I wouldn't have any problem with that. I think there's a lot of hurdles to it, right? And there's costs. But the problem is that then how are they going to get there? Yeah. Are they going to trailer it? You're going to have those problems. You're hearing of cases where they have like 30 or 40 of these guys, you know, going on the internet, talking about where they're going to meet, and they all go out in packs and ride. Is that what's going to happen to the riding thing? I don't know if it'll solve it or not.
Where are we going with this in the future of dirt bikes? Can we create a better manufacturer of dirt bikes that's going to make everybody happy? Where are we headed? What do you think?
The dirt bikes aren't safe in New York City. New York City is an urban area. You have a very high density of population density. You have a lot of pedestrians. You have a lot of cars. It's really, they're not for here, and they're not safe. We see that because of the injuries of the dirt bikers and the injuries of the citizens. They don't mix.
All right, now, as a prosecutor, what are you doing to prosecute these types of cases? Do you take pictures of the bike? Do you to show that they were riding a dirt bike? Interviewing witnesses? How do you present the case? What do you
Right
do
away,
here?
the police officer is going to take the bike. That's a given. Then he's going to file the charges. We're going to take the case. As I said earlier, we're looking at this now as kind of a little bit of a public health issue. This is dangerous, and so we're taking these cases very seriously. And they do face. We have some dirt bikers who have gone to jail now because we're taking it very seriously. Now, some of them might have records. Some of them may have other incidents, but that's a new thing. And so we're trying to do that. We're also trying to get the bikes off the street. The police are looking for where are they,
destroy them and get rid of them.
And where can they take
Best
them?
advice, don't get on a dirt bike in New York City.
That would be my advice.
All right. Thanks. Well, that's all for tonight. It's time to deliberate. I'd like to thank both of our guests for joining us, and of course you for watching. Remember, if there's a legal issue or topic you would like to see on the show, email me at davidlesh@bronxnet.org. And until we see you again, always remember, know your rights, know your issues, reach a verdict. We'll see you next time.
This was me. And Mom and Dad. And my big brother Alex. And this was the day we all got to forget that I was sick. This was my wish.